gentlemen, and welcome here to Channel 22 as we are discussing the weather here on board. I'm up here on the bridge with Captain Anders, and one of the things when it comes to weather, anytime it could possibly impact the ship, we always want to keep the ship informed and all of the guests and crew informed of what is to be expected. And this is not the first time in Royal Caribbean's history that a storm may affect the itinerary or the overall experience of a cruise. So we found in our best, in the best practices over the years, it's always important to keep the guests informed, and that's exactly what we want to do here today. I've got Captain Anders here. Welcome to Channel 22.
Thank you, Abe.
And let's talk about the weather and where we stand at this moment in time with the winter storm Jonas.
Yeah, it's a massive storm. We've been monitoring this one for quite some time already, and just to make sure that it would track in the direction that we suspected in the beginning, we waited as long as we can to make the final plans to avoid it. We always try to avoid to put a ship in a storm like this. It is a big storm, and there's a strong wind and heavy swells. And if you let me explain a little bit on this map here, what we are seeing here is actually our original track. This is the red ship there. That's the Anthem of the Seas. That's the track we were supposed to follow. But that would bring us, as you can see here, the red color on this map. That's where you have the strongest wind and the heaviest swell. So you are talking about 30 feet, 10 meters swell at least, and very strong wind here. That would hit us
right in here,
right there.
And that's greater than the swell that we experienced coming down.
That's greater than the swell. This storm is much more serious than the one that we came down.
Okay.
So in order to avoid that, because that would slow us down, we'll never make it to Bayonne on time.
Okay.
And of course, we for the comfort of the guests and the safety of the ship, we always try to make alternative routes to avoid storms like this.
Absolutely.
And the yellow ship here, that's also the Anthem of the Seas. That's actually the route that we are following now to avoid this storm. This will bring us pretty much at the backside of the storm, because this one is moving to the northeast, and as you see here, we will have a little bit of rough seas and some strong wind when we are in this area here. But instead of having it for 2 days, we're going to have it just for a few hours, and it's going to be much less. We are talking about 4 or 5 meters of swell and a little bit of headwind. But as soon as we come at the backside of the storm, we can pretty much speed up, and we can get to Bayonne more or less at the same time as if we had followed the other track. That would have been much more uncomfortable and possibly damage to the ship.
Now, if we would have taken that direct route straight up and gone right through the storm, we would not have arrived on time. It would have been impossible to do so. So what is the new schedule of arrival into Bayonne?
We will basically arrive 24 hours after schedule, which means that it's going to be at 6 o'clock on Tuesday morning instead of Monday morning.
Okay.
But it's at least we're going to have a much more comfortable ride and safer ride.
Okay. So essentially, folks, the determination and for the safety of the guests and the crew and the ship, we will be arriving 1 day later. So Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. will be our arrival into Bayonne. And that is whether or not we would have gone straight through the storm. Because of the storm, it would have slowed us up significantly, and we would be rocking and rolling and rocking and rolling for days at a time. So we have taken a left-hand turn, put on the turn signal about 1 o'clock this afternoon, heading this way, and then we're going to shift right on up, speed up, and be able to tuck into Bayonne. So everything is going to be essentially an additional day at sea on our final day here of the cruise.
Yes, absolutely. And as you can see from the model here, this model here is based on realistic speed that we could expect to keep. And if you see that the ships are meeting more or less at the same time up there, which probably would have happened in the real case if you had 2 ships doing these 2 things.
Yeah, because here you wouldn't be able to go fast at all.
That
We'd just
would
be creeping
That
along.
would be creeping along for 2 days with rough seas.
On behalf of a non-sailor, Captain, thank you very much. But it is going to be a little bit, obviously, an impact, spending an extra day on board the ship. Some of you right now are thinking, okay, we've eaten a lot of food. Do we have enough food? Absolutely. You will continue to be fed morning, noon, and night. Will we have activities and entertainment? Absolutely. My team is working hard, and we will be putting on additional activities, additional movies. We're going to come up with some entertainment for you, and we'll be enjoying that. Do we have enough fuel?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We can turn around and do the whole thing again.
Maybe that would be a good idea. is actually very true. Now, I know many of you are going to be affected by this storm because it's currently, the snow itself is impacting really the Virginia and the Maryland area, the DC area. There will be parts of Bayonne and the New Jersey and New York area that are also affected by the snow. And we've been on constant conversations with the Miami office as well as the cruise terminal there at Cape Liberty. And they are assuring us that when we do arrive on Tuesday morning, the snow will be cleared. Your vehicles and your car parks, you'll be able to get out without a problem. And we want to make sure that the whole process of things as smooth as we possibly can. Now, for those of you who have flights that are booked, one of the biggest impacts currently, if you've been watching the news, are the flight cancellations. There's literally thousands of flight cancellations that are taking place. And the travel over the next really 4 to 5 days is going to be very, very impacted. So instead of essentially sleeping at the airport, you can sleep on board the Anthem of the Seas, and it's going to be comfortable. But for those of you who have the flights that you need to rebook, for those of you who need to communicate with your families and your work and your friends and everybody else back home, making sure that you have an extra night babysitter for the kids and somebody to feed the dog while you're home. Starting at 4 o'clock this afternoon, that is on day number 8 that we're speaking of, we are actually going to be offering complimentary Boom Internet for all guests on board the ship. So you can take your smartphone, your tablet, your laptop device, and you can connect to the Royal Wi-Fi network, and it is going to be complimentary. It's high-speed internet, so that way you're able to actually connect via Facebook, Skype, FaceTime, iMessage. You can go back and forth with your family and letting them know the impact that's going to be complimentary for all of you. Now, for those of you who maybe bought a package for unlimited internet, you're actually going to be credited back a prorated amount for the complimentary days. So we've actually got complimentary Boom Internet for this afternoon, as well as tomorrow, the next day, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then at 6 a.m. arrival time, we will be obviously alongside in Bayonne. I think we about covered everything, but again, folks, just in kind of a recap for those of you who are just maybe tuning in and flipping through the channels, we are currently on the path where we've taken a left-hand turn to avoid the storm and the major sea swells that we would encounter if we continued on our straight path north. Going through here, we would be experiencing anywhere between 25 to 35 foot waves, and that is larger than what we were experiencing on the way down. So instead, we've gone to the left, closer to the Grand Bahama Islands, tuck in behind the storm, and we will be able to increase speed, and our arrival again will be into Bayonne on Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. Captain, is there anything else at this moment in time?
No, just to recap the picture here. The red color is bad. The yellow color is not so bad, but it's not so very nice either. The blue color, that's the nice, and the white, that's the nice color.
Yeah, I like that. That's it. It's a nice, pretty color. That's for sure. So we will, like I said, keep everybody informed. If anything should be updated, if the weather changes, if anything shifts, we will be airing an additional video such as this, just to keep everybody else informed. But at this time, the projected path itself, hanging to the left, turning on the turn signal once the storm passes, tucking along the coast, and we'll be arriving in Bayonne at 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Again, complimentary Boom Internet to contact your family and your friends and your work and everything else. It's never a situation that we want to get into, but again, the safety of the guests, our crew members, and of course the ship is what we take in the highest priority. And Captain, thank you very much for taking all of that into consideration.
Pleasure. That's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. So again, thank you very much everyone for tuning in.